So many years later, here in the Bay Area, working at K-Jazz, this was 1969, he was performing at the Fillmore Auditorium with his band. I stopped at a restaurant venue in Sausalito called the Trident, which is rather famous. There were many recordings that came out of there. Denny's Island was working there every week, and George Duke played there for a long time, and so on. So I went in to have lunch. I was going to head over to K-Jazz to do my program, which was going to start at 6 o'clock in the evening. I was doing a 6 to midnight shift at that time. I walked in, and this guy, Lou Van Polar, who had previously managed the Village Vanguard, then he moved out to California and took over booking and managing the Trident. I walked in, and, he knew me from the radio station. He said, "Hey, Miles Davis is here having lunch. You want to meet him?" I said, "Seriously?" I said, "I don't know, man," because I knew about his reputation of being kind of salty, and here's this young DJ type who's going to probably be a pain in the ass. So I said, "I don't know." So he went over and checked with Miles and came back and said, "Yeah, I told him you work for K-Jazz, so we'd love to talk to you." I said, "Oh, great." So I went over and sat down with him. We talked for a little bit, and he finished up lunch. He said, "I got some new music I want you to hear. You want to hear it?" And I said, "Sure." So we get into this Lamborghini and drive up. I don't know if you know Sausalito, but it's very hilly. There's a hilltop. And we drove up the hill to Dr. Henderson's house, who was his father's buddy from Illinois. He was staying there. The trumpeter Eddie Henderson, you know him, right?
Yeah.
This is Eddie's father. And Miles was staying there during his time in San Francisco. And then he was going to be going down to L.A. to continue. So I spent about 3 hours at least with just he and I in this, in this house. And he kept bringing out all these cassette tapes and playing them for me. And they were all, avant-garde stuff that had not come out yet. Remember Live Evil, that album?
Yep.
That kind of stuff with a sitar. It was the first time I heard sitar and tabla and all of that. This is stuff that had not come out yet. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. So we were checking it out. And he kept leaving the room about every 20 minutes and coming back. I thought, I wonder what's going on in that other room. This is during his fabled cocaine period. So we got to do all of this. And he was kind of weird in a way. I mean, I was kind of nervous just being around him because he was so kind of fidgety and, it was really kind of hard to talk to. But he was interested in what I thought about all this. He said, "I could see all those kids out there smoking their weed. They're going to love this shit." Something like that. He was very aware of what he was up to, and he was trying to get to that youth audience because this was after Bitches Brew. And so he had a whole new audience, right? And he was, in fact, performing in front of the Grateful Dead while he was in San Francisco, which is kind of wild. He always liked to open and then get the hell out of there. That was his thing. So I said, "Well, I have to leave in a little while to get over to the station." He asked me if I wanted to take some tapes with me to play on the air as long as I got them back to him that night after my shift. I said, that would be great. So I took several tapes with me, got permission from the station owner to, air a couple of things, which I did, 2 or 3, things while I was there till midnight. So when I got through at midnight, I drove back. I was living in Marin County, not too far from Sausalito at that point. So I drove up the hill, and they were in a bag. I put the bag of tapes on the doorstep. He told me to do that because it would be late. I put them there, and then he would get them in the morning. I said, great. So I did that. I went home to Corte Madera, and early in the morning at about 8 o'clock or wherever it was, the phone rings, and it's Miles. Where was tapes? If I don't get those tapes, you're going to be in deep shit, and he just really kind of basically threatened me over the phone. And I couldn't blame him, and I was shocked. I thought, what happened? I thought somebody stole them, right? So I jump in the car and I drive over there. And when I get there, I realize that I put them in the front of the house next door by mistake. They looked similar. And it was nighttime, it was dark, and I put it at the wrong door. Right? So I shut me realize what I had done. So I ring the doorbell, and this lady comes out. And I said, did you happen to find a bag with some tapes? And she said, oh, yeah. And she reached in and pulled it back. She said, I wondered what these were. I said, oh, my God, thank you so much. And then I went next door and rang that doorbell, and Mrs. Henderson came to the door. And I said, is Miles here? And she said, no. I said, thank goodness. I gave her the tape. I said, please make sure he gets these. And I left with my tail between my legs thinking, oh, my God, I just really dodged a bullet, man. Probably literally.
Yeah.
And that was my second and final Miles Davis story. I mean, that was just, really hairy.
Neon Jazz.